I forwarded this to my friend with the comment, I'm the actual problem now. Great time for a witch trial. So this is my response to Kirk Wintermute. Well, thank you very much for your thorough letter. I would like to know if there's any right of appeal. I would never have held myself out to work for Lifeboat Beacon filling empty bellies, as many of its practices were concerning from the get-go. I only consider myself informally to do very many kind things for the homeless. When I called a few clothing companies, I told them I would share info and or drop donations off at two locations, either the day center or the night center, because the homeless were seeking male pant sizes in a small size that was not available. My concern was to help the homeless, but I did hope that Erin and her partner would be very proud of my commitment to helping homelessness and working very hard. Erin actually told me that my advocacy skills were so impressive that there might be an official position for me at Beacon Clubhouse. I was reluctant to accept anything formally, but continued to do good things, such as bringing snacks to the homeless. I never ever misrepresented that I work for your organization and have never been on salary, have never been under any impression that I was on salary. I volunteered to clean and frequently did small tasks to assist, including vacuuming the Beacon House, for no pay or speaking with the homeless about their concerns. The sexual innuendo that was described to me from the director was described to me by numerous homeless individuals. I have never falsified information regarding their testimony, and I believe them as survivors of inappropriate innuendo. As none of my concerns have been addressed in a fair and open marketplace, it appears that you have a bias towards a rush to judge me. The unfortunate circumstances of my partner's health are nothing I should be blamed for. Under the provisions of the Violence Against Women Act, it is illegal to retaliate against family members who suffer from abuse. Your retaliation against me for my partner's issues is indicative of a misunderstanding of your federal responsibility. Your misunderstanding of my reasonable accommodation requests for my disabilities is also indicative to me that you do not respect the Americans with Disability Act as it applies to me or people like me. The fact that I opened up about being a survivor of assault, verbal abuse, and severe life-threatening violence for which I have testified in courts of law should not have been met with such hostility. I would urge your organization to practice trauma-informed care and become sensitive to the needs of survivors as their issues may arise. I have never raised my voice nor spoken improperly or been abusive at your establishment, as you falsely allege without proof. I would like to see the substantive reasons enumerated as to why you would make such allegations without any proof. I am deeply concerned that your failure to accept my observations in a positive and open-hearted light leads me to believe that other such similar whistleblowers will be retaliated against. I urge you to practice best practices against whistleblower retaliation for the safety and the betterment of the lives of the people you claim to support. Affirmed training on sexual harassment towards homeless women would indicate that your director's use of terms such as blue balls around the homeless is degrading, humiliating, pejorative, and derogatory towards them. Affirmed training on that should be taken immediately, and he should be prevented from such further innuendo around the homeless. There are many witnesses of that comment, none of whom I will betray their anonymous whistleblower status because it is clear you endorse whistleblower retaliation. That was the primary purpose of my letter. Your willingness to attack me for being the bearer of such sad tidings is indicative of a lack of responsibility in the director. I also indicated that I felt uncomfortable at the use of the term lynch mob to detract from the civil rights message and to misappropriate tragic history to demonize local businesses. It is not a diplomatic way forward and could possibly create greater sadness or danger in the community. My concerns in that regard were also never addressed either. None of my concerns about how homeless women who are victims of violence have been addressed by your team, and you have not let me know who your board of directors are and if any of them are hospitable to such issues. Nor have you addressed wheelchair access. I wish all homeless services in this county the most and maximum success possible, and that is why I brought these concerns forward. I wish you peace going forward and suggest you stop attacking me as the messenger and advocate bearing survivor testimony and try to meet the needs of the people you serve by knowing what their problems are instead of demonizing people who care about what their problems are. It is very important that all your donors know what type of organization you are and how you treat the homeless. Quality control is important in any and every business, and there's no reason to fly off the handle for such observations. Indeed, the atmosphere of silencing and retaliation, intimidation, and abuse is the reason why your organization could not handle this promptly. One homeless man stated to me that this is taking down the name of Filling Empty Bellies, originally a very kind and gentle organization. A homeless man said that the only answer is for the director to resign. Anybody who makes any kind of complaint is immediately excluded. Is that the type of business you want to run? The hostility towards input and the false accusations to demonize people who provide input is truly pitiful. I hope that you choose a better way forward, reevaluate your conduct, and strive to help the people who need the most help. As this week of hunger moves forward, people on the street will go hungry because your organization has taken a week off. The people you are starving with exclusion are perpetually hungry. A reminder that hunger is used by colonizer mindset people to starve indigenous people to accomplish defeat of people. I would urge you to firmly stop the practice of starving the homeless to punish them for minor personality infractions in Clatsop County. The crime I witnessed outside your organization in March has also never been addressed. The fact that the assailant has gone on to assault a man in a wheelchair is concerning to me. What type of recompense or counseling do you provide for your clients who witness other clients assault your clients? The homeless services community needs to work together. Stop the backbiting, stop the recrimination, stop the harassment, stop the sexual harassment. I would like an apology for the false accusations. Please consider a meeting to discuss each and every insulting and false allegation you have made against me. I must have a right of appeal if this is how you're going to represent this organization. Ugh. And I really don't think I need to repeat his words, because it sounds like Aaron and Ozark are completely freaking out when on attack mode against me. Ozark, I think he falsely induced a paranoid conspiracy that I want to be him and that I was attempting to impersonate him when I was participating in a clothing drive. I grew up in a household where we all chipped in and we did stuff. We were all natural leaders versus natural followers. So he basically was mad at me for being a natural leader and just jumping in and trying to do some clothing drive and recruit clothing for the homeless. And I'm like, honestly, like, I really don't care what you think if you do or don't want me to get clothing for the homeless, because I actually want the homeless not to die of hypothermia. Well, you want to check off your ego and your accountant and your tax adjustment or whatever the purposes of you trying to control all donations, or bragging about it on Facebook, or impressing Aaron Carlson, or whatever the point is of you wanting to have all the credit. And I don't want any credit for trying to help the homeless, I swear, man. It's not about ego. It has to not be about ego. And there are other ways to get a big ego. Such as, okay, so now this email back to Kirk Wintermute I sent to, let's see, Aaron Beacon Clubhouse at Gmail, judicial.fitness@oregon.gov, cao@osbar.org. So those are basically the people overseeing judicial oversight of judicial fitness, as well as even having a bar license. And I'm like, okay, hello, due process. Like, you're jumping the gun on behalf of their hokey nonprofit run by these people and gone attack mode against one of your supporters. It's like, I was really trying to help them so much, and it was very hard to come out about these, but it was the right thing to do. If numerous homeless people are complaining about innuendo. So then, Human Services at Clatsop, and then the Clubhouse International people. And then I just looped in all the Katie Frankowitz, Nicole Bales, and Eric Bengal. And I'm sure they're all over this issue, and probably we all just want to move on with hopefully a better way of feeding the poor. And then I called the harbor because this whole, like, a man jumping in to blame me. Basically, they're kind of going a bit too far, but I'm just not really... Anyway, I'm going to shut up. That's my response. And I don't have to do a dramatic reading of Kirk's creepy letter to me, do I?